What if I told you you can build software just by describing your ideas? Welcome to Vibe Coding, the AI powered revolution that's transforming how we create software. Today, we'll explore how this innovative approach is reshaping the programming landscape. Ready to experience the future of coding? Let's dive in. So, what exactly is vibe coding? It's a new frontier, an AI driven approach where you describe your vision in plain language and a powerful LLM generates the code for you. Think of it as programming distilled to its essence. Think of it as programming distilled to its essence. Creativity over complexity. Andrej Karpathy, OpenAI co founder, captured it best. I just see stuff, say stuff, run stuff, and copy paste stuff, and it mostly works. The result? A dramatically lower barrier to entry, making coding accessible to innovators, entrepreneurs, and even beginners who never thought they would build software. This isn't just a tool, it's a mindset shift, and it's already here. The spark ignited in February 2025 when Andrej Karpathy coined vibe coding in a single tweet. That moment lit a fuse. Within weeks, outlets like Business Insider and Y Combinator were dissecting its impact. Why the hype? Because startups are now building apps with lean teams delivering in days what once took months and dozens of engineers. This isn't a buzzword, it's a tipping point. Vibe coding isn't just reshaping how we code, it's redefining what it means to be a developer. Here's how. Speed and efficiency. AI delivers functional code in minutes. Y Combinator CEO Gary Tan predicts a team of 10 can now rival the output of 50 to 100 traditional engineers. Evolving roles. Developers shift from line-by-line coders to strategic orchestrators, guiding AI, refining outputs, and focusing on the big picture, the trade-offs. It's not perfect. AI generated code can be tricky to debug, and without oversight, technical debt looms. Human expertise still remains the backbone. The power is real, but so is the responsibility. At this moment, there are 6 products competing with each other: Lovable, Bolt, Cursor, Windsurf, Replit, GitHub Copilot, and don't forget the traditional ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini interfaces, which also support HTML rendering. The above tools, they are not the same. Some focus more on beginners and others focus more on experienced developers. Lovable and Bolt focus more on delivering an end-to-end agent with minimal user intervention. On the other hand, Cursor, Windsurf, and GitHub Copilot focus more on experienced developers, offering tools like manual context selection and model selection as well. Today, we will focus on Lovable, and we will try to build a demo app without writing a single line of code. Also, it's important to note that all of the tools offer a free tier or a free plan, but usually that's very limited. My suggestion is if you are a complete beginner, try to play with Lovable, Bold, or Replit, see what fits you best, and stick with that. Now, let's go into Lovable, and the domain is lovable.dev. They have a chat interface right here where we type in, and here we can see our previous projects. These are on my account, and we also see what the community builds in real time. These are the latest ones, and there is a featured tab with more complex projects built. Now, some technical explanation that will help us further. Lovable only creates React projects. React is a framework used to build web applications, but React only builds the front end. For backend operations like user authentication, fetching user data, and payments, Lovable has implemented 2 integrations. The first and most important one is Supabase. Supabase is an open source project offering a complete backend service with user authentication, a Postgres database, object storage, and real-time subscriptions. Lovable also integrates with Stripe, so you can easily add variable types of payments like subscription or usage-based pricing in your application. For today's example, as you can see in their input here, we can attach files like screenshots or PDFs with step-by-step instructions that the agent will follow. And we can also link a Figma design, so the agent will try to copy that as best as it can. But note that at the moment, if you have a complex Figma design, it will not be pixel perfect replicated. So for today's example, we will paste a simple prompt, and we have a minimal habit tracking app with daily strikes, monthly view, and progress insights. Include habit categories and achievement badges. Let's see what we get with this one. Now the agent gets to work. We will have to wait some time. We see that within 30 seconds, the agent has started writing. And in the UI, we have two modes. This is the preview mode. Once the app will be previewable, we will be able to see the UI here. And if we want to see the code, we have a dev mode where we click here and we see the actual code base. But let's stick to the preview mode for now. And in the left panel, we see that the agent is building the components, the code files one by one. And we will skip the waiting part just to keep the video short. After roughly 2 minutes, we see that the code generation ended and we get this beautiful UI here. We didn't specify any kind of layout or design, so this is all generated by the model itself. And we see a typical SaaS interface with some strikes and some achievements, with some cards and some drop-down menus. And this is the dashboard. We see a calendar here and insights. We see it has animations. And if we try to add a new habit, let's say running, health, 5-mile run, click create habit. We see that the habit actually created and we have it here. Can edit or delete it. And with the progress is 30 days. And if we mark this complete, nope, the mark complete doesn't work. Now, in a production app, the data would need to be linked into a user account. In this case, if we go to the code sections in the data, we see that the agent generated sample data here. And if we go back in the production use case, we would need to have a backend integration with the database where we would actually save the data for each user separately. We won't go into that depth in this video. We will make a separate tutorial where we will build a fully fledged SaaS with Lovable and Supabase and Stripe, showcasing the build out of a feature complete SaaS. For this tutorial, we will focus on the UI, and we see that at the end, Lovable also recommends some next steps. And we see here the first is refining customizations of the design, so we can tweak it to match our own preferences. We see it directs us to have more clear and iterative prompts. We can expand with backend. And also another thing that we didn't mention is Lovable offers a GitHub integration where it actually can save code in a GitHub repo in our GitHub account. So we can pick it up later and continue working even on another IDE. Here we can continue editing the app via prompts, saying anything that we want. Lovable is one of the few tools that offer visual editing. If we click edit in this one, we can see that we can select UI components. So if we select what should we select? So this must be a list because it actually selects each one of them. And okay, we selected the header, and now we can edit some properties here. So we have borders radius of the background. So if we change the background, it's black. We can add the padding and margin. This tries to match the no-code website builders that exist out there. And we also have some CSS properties here, but this is more advanced. Now that we selected the header, we can instruct Lovable to modify it as we want, and the agent will make changes only on that component. So if we say make the selected component have a floating style with background a bit that is a bit darker. And let's see how this works. As you can see, the header changed. Now it showcases a darker background and it has a floating style, which gets implemented with this shadow here. And now let's try to make a bigger change. So I want to add a user profile section. Now, in order for this to work, you typically have to provide as much detail as possible. So how you want the layout to be, how you want the design to be, and what content you want to include. Now, because I do not have something specific on my mind, what I like to do in this case is to prompt it with something like this. For anything that you are unsure, try to use for any use standard design layout and content for the changes. So with this prompt, we try to say it, just use what typically is used in SaaS UIs and layouts and stuff like that. And because most of the SaaS out there have a very similar designs and layout, and their skeletons is almost identical, the model in this case usually performs very well. And where is the we have a profile section here, and we also have an image that leads, but it's empty, so it's barely visible in this case. So in the profile section, we have a username, we have email, and we have a bio. And if we click to this, we see that this pop-up, which is a very good design, it's on every product out there. We have a profile, we have settings. Yeah, these buttons do not work. Okay, so if we have, what else should we include in this app? So let's say now the mark complete works. Previously it wasn't. So if we say mark complete, it completes the today's task. Can we delete? Yes, we can. Okay, so we have, before figuring out what to instruct Lovable to do next, it's a good time to show you that Lovable has two modes. If we click in the drop-down menu here, we see the default, which is a chat. It's the panel on the left side, and it does make edits on your project. And we can have a chat only, which is the same thing, which is the same layout, but it doesn't make any edits on our project. You would want to use this one if you want to ask questions about your project, like about the design or the data that it expects, anything that you want. So we will use this feature to ask, what should we add next to this project? Give me 3 features that we should add next to this project. And this one will give us 3 recommendation. And I hope it doesn't include any backend, but I think it will. So now it reads our code base step by step. And yeah, we get more than 3. We get 3 high level with 3 on each one. So habit reminders and notifications, daily reminder, push notifications, reminder customization, snooze and complete, social sharing and accountability, sharing, leaderboard, community challenges, habit statistics. Okay, that's a nice one. So I like the statistics and analytics one, and the social sharing as well. So we will try to include friend connections, and let me the new doc so I can actually save these. Actually, not friend connections, but accountability partners, because this is usually a very needed. Nope. And no progress, not leaderboard. So we will add this habit heat map, which is similar to the GitHub's contribution graph. Let's save these two. And actually, the heat map might be easier. I think it's easier. So let's start with this one. And now we need to change back to default mode. And since we have this, let's hit enter. And we will have to wait again. And we see that the code generation started. If we open the code base, we'll see that this is a typical React project. And for the UI components, it uses the Sudscient library. What else? So we have our components, the context, the data, which is the hard-coded data, as we see, some hooks, the pages. We have 2 pages in this one, and the utils file. Yeah, not much. So let's go back to the preview mode. It edited 2 files. I've created a detailed habit heat map visualization that shows completion patterns over time, similar to GitHub's contribution graph. The heat map allows users to view habit completion patterns in both month and year views. The component uses color intensity to show completion target cells for complete habits. Let's see where it is. So I think it was in the calendar view. Yeah, and we see it being empty. Okay, since we will not be implementing the backend in this video, we will say add some demo date on the heat map, so we can actually see how they would preview in the application. And we see that it's adding data. And let's reload the app. Let's go to the calendar. So we need to switch to the year, and we see, Okay, it's not very. And the yearly view, we see that it's not correct. It's not correct. If we go to the month, I think these are on January. They don't seem to be correct. And let's try to debug this. Actually, I'm going to ask it, add more data and only add them in January, February, and March of 2025. I hope it understands this one. So we actually need some data to kind of see, because I'm not sure. I think it didn't add many. And let's wait for this one. Okay, let's reload the insights. No. So we still don't see that. We have, okay, it still doesn't work. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of I'm gonna use this one, and I'm gonna take a screenshot and showcase. So I'm gonna input this one, and I'm gonna see this is the UI of the heat map in the month selections. No, that is showing at all. This is the yearly preview. Fix it. This is a complex prompt because there are two bugs here. The first one is in the month, when we select the month here, no data is showing. So I guess this has to do something with the hard-coded data. And in the yearly preview, the UI doesn't look good. So, and not only doesn't look good, but we see that it's wrong because it should have. So let's see if it can actually from that one. And another note here is, we said before that if you're a beginner, you should start with Lovable, Bolt, or Replit. Before we refresh this, let's go to the code base, and we see a lot of files here. And when our code base starts to reach multiple pages and a lot of code files, as we see here, we have like 4 pages with multiple sections, forms, inputs, the account here. When we add a real backend on this one, the code base will increase 30 to 50%. So when we reach that phase, it's better to actually move the code base into Cursor or Windsurf, because that ones allow us more refined edits and they handle larger code bases better in general. So we see that the issue with the monthly has been fixed by improving the date checking logic. I added a visual distinction. Let's see how that works. So it is in the calendar and we don't see any date again. Yeah, so this one would require a very detailed fix. And this is what's called vibe debugging. And vibe debugging is way more tricky than vibe coding itself. Now, we could stick over and try to fix this one, but because that has to do with some UI fixing and some data changing, we're not gonna stick over that, and we'll try to add the other feature as well. So I'm gonna say add this feature and see what we get. Nope. The agent has started working. It has created a new accountability component, as we see. Let's go over to the. So these are the high level. It's not already written. And so again, this prompt is a bit vague because we say enable users to share specific habits with trusted friends. So for this to work, we need somehow to have the friend connection or follow. This needs some kind of database fix. And the other thing is we need some kind of sharing between the two people. We see that we got an error, and so we can click try to fix and we can see the logs. Let's see the logs first. So we have null. Okay, this seems pretty easy fix. It has something to do with the use effect. Let's click try to fix it. And this one seems to be an easy fix. So I'm guessing it will get it on the first try, or at least I'm hoping. Okay, let's refresh. We see an error again. The build is different, and this has something to do with the sample date in our sample habits file. I don't see the error. I don't see the specific error. Is missing the following properties from type habit. My guess is it has forgotten to change because it says there are missing following properties. So I'm guessing in some habits it didn't add some of the properties, and this is a data issue. So in this types of applications, the main component is the data structure and how we set up the database. So we would have a users table, we would have a habits table, and when we add accountability partners, we need to have a table for each person and his own habits, and we would need to add a new table which would link two persons. And this is a bit more complex to do, but I think in this case it will work out. But now I'm curious to see what the UI would look like. Okay, I clicked, so it generated here, and I clicked it by mistake. So that's another nice thing about Lovable. It generated its own recommendation, so that file was getting into 300 lines, and it said that it's getting too long, and it's better to break it up for easier maintenance, which is true. Okay, let's see if the build. So we see an error again. This must be the same. No, different one. So we have good news and bad news. So good news is it's fixing the errors every time. Bad news is it's getting more on each generation. It's getting a new error. So we'll stick to the try to fix it again, and we will try this a few more times. As we wait for the code, another necessary tip when you're building with vibe in vibe coding style is before you start coding, you need to have a PRD, which means product requirement document. And that includes all of the features, that includes the features, database, schemas that it might need, and requirements and tech stack requirements. And these documents usually can be generated with ChatGPT, and they can help development, especially when done with AI. Now we see some changes, but again, so we see the module has no exported member use habits. Let's go to the code base and see the context itself. So habit context, it said that it didn't had an export habit use habits. I think we're getting closer to the fix, because the previous one had was originating with many files, and this is only in one file. And so we were waiting, and let's try to reload. We have an error again. Let's see the error. It cannot read properties of undefined reading length. Okay, and updating on components. So we're kind of stuck in the same error. I'm thinking it has the same source, but I haven't checked the code base at all to see. We'll try to trust the agent and see if it can actually get unstuck. And another thing that we can try is we can create a new chat, so it won't have all the history behind it. And sometimes that helps in order to get unstuck from an error. Okay, so this time it might actually work. And yeah, we don't get any error. We don't get any errors. So it's kind of done. So we see that on each habit that we're tracking, we can add an accountability partner. And so this is private. We can change the habit from private to shared. We can enter a reference name. So I'm not sure if it has any. So let's say this email, and let's say add partner. Yeah. If we edit, okay, we cannot click for some reason. There's no email, so that account would be noticed. And in the real app, we would have, since we would add the accountability, we would, okay, that was gone. We would check if the user has an account, and if he has, we would notify him in the app, and if he doesn't, we would send him an email notification for that app. And we can also remove him. Okay, allow reminders, share progress, and let's leave it at that. We can see it here. These are the same as before. Okay, we don't have reminders. Okay, that works a bit easier than before. We see that we have a very advanced UI, and this is a very solid start of an app. And this is a way that many people can build an MVP and actually see the vision that they have in their head, to see it in the real life. Now we need to kind of remind that this is not perfect. You can make mistakes, as we saw. So don't get discouraged. And one important thing to remember is as models get better and better, these coding assistants will also get better. Lovable, for example, is only 4 or 5 months old, 4 or 5 months old only. It's a Swedish startup, and its performance heavily relies on the underground models. Currently, it runs the new Claude Sonnet 3.7, which is the best model for coding. And now, one last thing before we close up is we can actually view and share the UI. If we click that arrow, so this is the preview app here on a separate tab. And if we click publish, if we can publish the app, and we can also connect a custom domain if we want. So you can deploy it directly from inside Lovable. And once it gets published, it will have this URL here. And as we see, the app is live, although this is a demo app, and you can share it directly with someone to get feedback on very quickly. This was today's tutorial. I'm going to leave the link of this demo app in the video description. If you have a specific app idea that you would like me to build live on a video, let me know in the comments below. I'm planning to make a video that will turn this demo app into a production with a real backend database and user authentication. And if you want that video to be made a priority, drop a comment in the section below and I will try to make that as fast as possible. Now, if you're watching this video and you have started building your app with Lovable or any of the other tools and you got stuck and you need a professional to help you out, or you have an idea and you want to build an MVP quickly, there's a link in the video description where you can book a one-on-one consultation with me. I look forward to talking with you and thank you for watching the video. See you in the next one.